Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel that is Science Unlocked, and now we are going to discuss about our separation techniques that we have started in our previous session. Now over here we are going to talk about certain processes which we have not discussed yet. In the previous session we have talked about almost all the processes which we can use in terms of dry components, but sometimes it happens that we do have some of the components which are mixed in some liquid. So in that case we do have separate components and separate ways with which we can actually separate the substances which are mixed together, and a combination of process for one such combination or one such mixture is the process of sedimentation and decantation. Now this process will going to be used by us in case we have a mixture of a liquid and a solid where the solid is not totally mixed inside the liquid, and in that case if we will going to keep it undisturbed for some time, the liquid, that is the supernatant, will going to get separated from the sediments, means the components of the solid material. So in such a situation what we are going to do, we are going to simply keep it undisturbed for some time, means we will going to keep the mixture undisturbed for some time, and we will see that the component which is heavier will going to get settled down at the bottom. So this process is called as sedimentation. Now one process we have done, but we do not want to simply separate them within the common combination or within the common container. We want to separate it into separate containers. So for that what we are going to do is we are going to take off the lighter component which is flowing onto the top of it, which is also considered as supernatant, and what we are going to do is we are going to simply transfer it to a separate container. And when we are transferring it to a separate container, that second process related with it is considered as decantation. Now while doing so we have to be very much careful that we do not allow the mixing of two things all together, and we will going to make sure that we will going to only take out the supernatant and not the sediment material out of it. But we have, like over here we have talked about the concept of sedimentation and the sedimentation and decantation process, but sometimes it happens that there will going to be certain impurities which will be left behind, and sometimes it happens that the supernatant that we have taken out is not clear enough to be used. So in that case we will going to use a third technique along with the two processes that we have talked about, that is called filtration process, where we are going to simply use the filter paper and a funnel, and we will going to simply make the cone out of the filter paper so that it can be settled down on the funnel, and we will going to simply pour the combination or the mixture that we have received, the supernatant that we have collected after decantation, we will going to let it pass through the filter paper so that it can be filtered properly, even if there are some sort of small quantity of impurities into it. Now how does this separation takes place? This separation takes place because the particular filter paper that we are using here is having some amount of pores into it. There are small pores into it which will going to aid the process of filtration, and over here ultimately we will going to get the final clean amount of resultant or filtrate that we talk about in the final result. Now after this there is one more process, like over here we have talked about the process or the technique that we will going to use in case the component is not mixed properly. What if the component is mixed properly inside the liquid? In that case we have a special case that is called the case of evaporation, where we are going to take the liquid in which the component is added, means the soluted acid added, which is totally dissolved into it. And one such example that we are taking up is the salt solution, where we talk about the sea water from where we are going to obtain the salt by simply heating the sea water, because we know that it is the best source of salt that we can think of. Now over here we are going to simply heat the combination or the mixture that we have in front of us, and in this process we will see that the liquid will going to get evaporated or simply get vaporized, and ultimately it will going to lead to the separation of solid material, that is the salt, within the container, and the water will be removed out of it. So that kind of process is considered as the process of evaporation. Now, after all these set of processes, what if I say that the water that is being converted into vapors during the process of vaporization, I want to separate and collect that water as well. I don't want it to get simply converted into gaseous form and get released into the air. In that kind of a combination, we will going to require a combination of processes altogether, like the example that we have taken over here, that is going to be a combination of salt and sand mixture in water. So over here what we are going to do is we are going to first of all take out the component which is not dissolved in the water, that is the sand. So for that process we are going to simply use the process of sedimentation as discussed earlier, and the process of decantation. Now once the process of decantation is going to be done or is over, then we will going to evaporate the salt solution that we are left out with. And once we are going to do this thing, once we are processing the whole process of conversion of this combination of salt and water, and we are trying to separate it out with the help of evaporation, during that time we will see that due to evaporation salt is left behind, but we want to take out the steam as well. So over here we will going to use the next process which is called as condensation, by simply putting the ice onto the plate or any kind of surface, and we will going to bring it in front of the steam so that it will going to cool down. Ultimately we will going to simply collect the component that is coming out of the cooling process. One such example that we can think of is whenever we are going to put a lid onto something which is heating up, and we will going to keep it undisturbed for some time, we will see that on removal of the lid we will see that there are small droplets on the inner side of that lid. One such example is very much common while heating up or boiling of milk and putting the lid over it. So this is something which you can relate with in terms of condensation. So the droplets that you observe on the lid is basically because of the process of condensation process. Now last but not the least is the combination or the process about saturated solution, where we are going to talk about the kind of solution where no more amount of solute can be added because all the solute particles have occupied the possible space in the solvent. Now solute is basically the component which we will going to add to a liquid, and solvent is that liquid over where the solute will be added. So if we talk about the example of, let us say, sugar solution, so over here the sugar is going to be considered as solute and the water will be considered as solvent. Now what happens is, once we will going to start mixing the two things, that is sugar and water, we will see that there is a point at which no more amount of solute, means no more amount of sugar, can be added to it. So that point is considered as the saturation point or saturating point. Now what happens is, if the saturation point has reached, we can heat up the solution and we can add up more amount of solute into it and turn into a super saturated solution, where we will be able to add a few more amount of solute particles into it by simply heating it up. But what will happen that on reaching the situation of super saturated solution, even the heating process will not be able to help us with the addition of more particles of solute. So that is something, a sort of limitation in this case, but it led us to the kind of situation where the first category of component, or simply the first set of container where we have taken the solution of sugar and water, there it is considered as saturated solution. On the other hand, once it is heated up and more amount of solute added to it to the maximum extent, then it is considered as supersaturated solution. Now the last point is that the saturation point of the solution will going to be dependent on certain factors like the temperature of the solvent, pressure of the solvent, and the nature of solute and solvent that we are trying to mix all together, over where the space between the particles of both solute and solvent also comes in. This brings us to the end of this chapter. In the next session, we will going to discuss few more different topics. Till then, take care and keep learning.